Hi, my name is Martin Perhiniak. Welcome to the new Photoshop Basics video tutorial series on Psdtuts Plus. I'm an Adobe certified expert and instructor, and in this 25 episode video series, we will go through the basics of Photoshop, how to use it efficiently and as a professional user. In this first episode, the first rendezvous with Photoshop, I'm going to show you quickly how to set up the application, so how to navigate in documents, how to use multiple documents, how to set up panels, save keyboard shortcuts and workspaces. So let's get started, and I switch back to my normal interface with the tools on the left and the panels on the right. Whenever you have a document open, you can always use keyboard shortcuts to navigate in that document. If you press and hold the Command and Space or Control Space on PC together, you get the magnifying glass tool. And with this, when you click and drag to the right, you zoom in. You drag to the left, you zoom out. You can also use Command or Control plus and minus together on the keyboard to do this, but I think in Photoshop CS5 this is the fastest way to do it. If you want to pan around in a document, you just simply need to press space and then click, and that gives you the hand tool, and you can pan around like this. Whenever you zoomed in to a very small portion of an image, you can press and hold the H key and then click to get the bird's eye view, and you can move around this rectangle and then zoom into another part of the image like this. If you want to zoom back to fit to screen view, you can press Command or Control 0. If you have multiple documents opened, just like now I have 4 documents, I see them here on the top in these tabs, I can always go to Arrange Documents options, and I can choose the second one, which is called Tile All in Grid. If I choose this one, then I see all the documents that I opened, and I can work in all of them together. If I want to put an image onto another image, so build a multi-layered document in Photoshop, I just simply need to use the first tool in the toolbar called the Move tool. And with this, I click on an image and drag it onto another image like this. Now here I have 2 layers, and you can see them here in the Layers panel on the right. I just undo this step now. I go to Edit and step backward, or choose Undo Move, and I show you how to get back to one document view. This is again in the Arrange Documents area, and just choose the first one, which is called Consolidate All. On the left we have the tools, and each tool has similar tools, and if you click on a tool and hold your mouse, you can see those additional tools. For example, under lasso tool we have the polygonal and the magnetic lasso tools. Whenever you select a tool, you will always see the additional options in the control bar here on the top. So now I select another tool, for example the brush tool, then I get the settings for the brush tool. The other important area of Photoshop is the panel area on the right. As you can see, I don't use the default option for the panels. I customize the panels, which is a really easy thing to do in Photoshop. You will find the panels under the window menu. These are all the panels, and for example, if I select color, I see this panel, and this is a floating panel, so I can position it anywhere on my user interface, and I can easily dock into this right section by moving it over specific areas of my user interface. I can dock it into, for example, Adjustments and Masks panel. If I hover over it and it becomes blue, it means that I can dock it into that panel group. If I move my mouse a little bit up, I see a horizontal blue line. If I now let go my mouse, I created a new panel group for the color panel. If I don't need it anymore, I can drag it out and I can just simply close it. As you can see, we have these docked panels here on the right, but we also have these little iconic panels. And if I click on one of them, I can open or expand that panel. And when I click again on the icon, it closes back. If I want to see the names of these panels, I can click on the left edge of these little iconic panels, and then I can expand them to see the names of these panels. I just make more space and move them back to the right. It is really important to keep your user interface clear. This is just like working on a table. It's always good to have order when you work. The preferences are found under Photoshop Preferences or on PC Edit Preferences. And here you can set up everything about Photoshop. But mainly what I would like to show you is, I think the most important part of the preferences is the performance. Here you can set up the memory usage, the scratch disks, the GPU settings, and the history and cache. The default settings for available undo steps, which is the history states, is 20. I like to set it up to 101. This is my lucky number. But you can go as far as 1000 history states. The more memory and scratch disks you give to Photoshop, the faster it will work and the more reliable it will work, which is really important. And you have lots of other options to customize the application. For example, under the interface options, you can set up the background color for the particular views in Photoshop. I just cancel out from this window, and I would like to show you that you can also customize the keyboard shortcuts in Photoshop. Every option can be used with a keyboard shortcut. You will find the keyboard shortcuts under Edit menu and at the bottom. And here you can customize all the keyboard shortcuts. For example, if you go under Edit menu, you can change the step forward and step backward options. I use the function keys for the most commonly used options. So I set up F1 and F2 for these two options. And then I just save it as a set in this window. I show you quickly my setup with keyboards. As you can see, from F1 to F8, I have the most useful options saved. Throughout the years of using Photoshop, I found these settings the most commonly used options in Photoshop. So as you can see, I have undo and redo on the first two function keys, then new layer via copy on the third one, which is under layer new, layer via copy. Then I have flip horizontal on F4, which is under edit, transform, flip horizontal. I have the new layer option for F5, save something as smart object on F6, save a selection as a layer mask on F7, and the save as function for F8. This is my preference, but of course you can use your own settings. The main thing with keyboard shortcuts is that you can save time whenever you use Photoshop. It's much faster to use keyboard shortcuts than to always choose these options from the menus or the panels. And finally, you can save your customized panel settings and keyboard shortcuts together as a workspace. If you click on this double arrow here on the top, you can choose New Workspace option. And there you can name your workspace. I usually use my own name. And I add keyboard shortcuts to this option to capture those as well with the panels. You can also save different workspaces for different type of work that you do. For example, if you work for web and print, you can have your specific workspace for web and another one for print. And that's all what you need to start working with Photoshop. In the next video tutorial, we are going to focus on bridge, which is a really useful sidecar application to Photoshop. Thank you for your attention and see you next time.